My name's Spradley, and we're in McGregor, Texas. I started my phone career out in 1970. Southwestern Bell, and retired in 2000. But during that course of time, I had a friend of mine that was lost contact with, and we got back together years later, around 1976. And this gentleman had been with the telephone company for 50-something years himself. And we was coming back from a fishing trip down on the coast, and we was about halfway to his home there in Marble Falls. And he said, I want you, when we get back home, to start taking all that stuff in my garage up to your house and build a building, and I want you to put a museum in it. Well, I didn't really know what he was talking about, and to make a long story short, I should have took an 18-wheel truck down there and made it in one trip, because I made about 10 down there, and I ended up with right at 58,000 pounds worth of phones and equipment, all assorted equipment, and some stuff I'd never even seen. The part that the kids don't like, when they come in here, they look at that right there and say, you know, hey, I can't go no further, that's it. I said, that's it, you can't walk around the house and talk on the phone. Or my dad had 40 years in one day with Southwestern Bell. So I kind of growed up with it ever since I was born. You know, he worked for the phone company. I guess that kind of got me into it, and never did really think about collecting them too much. Let me see if old Bertha wants to crank up today. This particular board right here is a Kellogg Switchboard Supply Company, made in 1900. And it was a Magneta. Let me see which way I got it ringing. That must be the wrong one. There we go. Now, before ringing machines, dial tone, that sort of thing, this particular board would be in a lady's house, which the movie Sissy Spacek was in, Raggedy Man. This is the kind of board she operated in the movie. But if you got a call, that's what they'd call the operator, and she'd plug you in, and she'd call, and that's what she had to do when she was calling a party. That's the way you'd ring it. Well, when they come up with the ringing machine, we're going to go to this now. That stopped the turning in the pig's tail. Every one of them has been taken apart and cleaned up. Some of them didn't need a bunch, and some others didn't need the bunch. So you could go to my shop, me and my dad go to the shop, and going down there for an hour or so, and 5 hours later, you're still there. You just get involved in it. Well, to make a call, you'd have to pick it up, and you would signal the operator. And when she'd answer, she'd say, "Number, please," and you'd give her a number or party number they was, and whatnot, and she'd leave you plugged in, and she'd get the number you was looking for or wanting to talk to. She'd get another card and plug it in, call them, and when they answered, she'd flip the switch up or the key up and say, "Oh, your party's on the line," and they'd go to talking. And that was fine and good, but when you got through talking, one of the other needed to call her back and let her know. When she saw it bullseye over her drop, she knew, hey, they're through talking. So she normally, or naturally, she'd monitor it and make sure they were through talking. And then she'd pull the card, and that'd be like you hanging up. When the third grades come through, I'll bring them in here, and just, first question I ask them is, what is some kind of ways of communication, or you communicate? What is the earliest ones y'all know about? How did people communicate years ago? Well, the first thing they do is reach in their pocket and pull out a cell phone. And I said, well, that don't count. Would you believe that is the Waco Fire Department switchboard. Every fire that come into Waco would come through this board and would be dispatched. Tool and snorkel number 1 and rescue unit. That particular one was probably at one Pacific station. So when they wanted that one, they would put in and use their card to plug into that station and signal them if they had a fire, and they would be dispatched from this board right here. This was a 3-position board. All right, this is a piece of what we call line wire. This was some of the first stuff that was put up, poles and cross arms, and people know what I'm talking about. But a pole would be up and there'd be a cross arm set across it. And then insulators like these right here were screwed down on them, and the wire would go here and be tie wrapped on. And this would go from pole to pole to pole to pole. So this is one of the first ways they had a pair. Well, it started off with one wire, and then it got better when they went to a pair of wires. But this is what they used to talk on out, even in town and out in the country. So this worked good for a while, but as time went on, and it got to be more phones and stuff, they started putting more. This is a telephone cable. This is a 200 pair, lead covered with paper pulp insulation. This got wet, you could be there a while getting it repaired. That worked good for a while, and this is still around in some parts of town. But it was difficult when it was cut because it took a while to get it back together. Here's the same 200 pair cable as that lead one, but it's called pick. You can see all the different colors. This has got a code in it. When you learn the color code, one man can put this back together in about 2.5 hours, where that there could take a day and a half. So things is progressing. And here's another piece of pick cable that's color coded. This is 2,400 pair. So that's 4,800 individual wires. So we got in a picture deal with Paramount Pictures, which is a long drawn out story, but to make a long story short, this is what built this room right here. They come up and done a movie with Miss Sissy Spacek in it called Raggedy Man. We leased them some equipment and helped them on the scene at the movie. Yeah, that was taken down in Maxwell, Texas. That's where the film was made at, in Maxwell, Texas, a little town that's east of Austin. The fan's on and the lights are running. Superman has left. I think it's probably one of the fastest growing industries, or has developed more faster than anything else I can think about other than maybe electricity. I tell you, I got a little old flip phone, and that's all I got. I don't text, I don't get no text, it just rings, and I can call out on it. It's been very rewarding, and I've learned a lot about it. The kiddos and the people that, past is going by pretty quick. But have something preserved, I think that was real good.